I have another awesome case study to present you guys. And I'm so excited for this because we've been working long term together throughout 2025, and it has been such a satisfying relationship that I am stoked to present your case study to all the viewers and friends who are watching this. So, without further ado, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure, I'm Chad. I have a studio salon called Urban Unicorn. I do both hair as well as head spa. And I don't know if I said this, I've been in the industry about 25 years. And yeah, I love doing all of it. I didn't think I'd see myself this long in the business, but here I am.
Before working with me, because you've been in the business for a long time, right? So I'm sure that you have invested in yourself and other coaches and programs and education. But what were some of the main challenges that you were dealing with?
I think the biggest challenges I was working with was learning how to attract new clients. Being that I got into the industry in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was more the hustler, hand my card out, talk to people, more organic flow. And then COVID hit and I didn't get those opportunities. And at the time, I didn't have a salon or anywhere that was funneling clients to me. So before joining this, I was kind of flat with client numbers. I wasn't building. I just really was kind of lost. I was honestly contemplating maybe getting out of the industry and just going into, being an educator, doing something different. So honestly, I think that was my biggest challenge was just how do I attract new clients and how do I show them who I am?
Yeah. Why did you decide to move forward with working with me over trying something else, right? Or staying where you are?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of that is in my mind. I thought the more classes I took, the more education I had, the more I told my clients about what I was doing, the more I was going to get booked. But after watching and seeing you on Instagram for probably almost about a year and just kind of listening to what you were talking about and the methods and, hey, just book a quick call with me. Just something resonated with me, and I thought, what do I have to lose? I had never actually worked with a coach before. Again, just taking classes. So it was just to me, something said, this is your next step. This is what you need to do. So that's how I ended up finding you and starting to work with you.
What part of the work stood out as the most impactful? Because we worked together for 6 months, which I
Mhm.
love, and it's been such a delight and a treasure to work with you. And you're a Gemini, so of course I am naturally skewed a little bit. But why do you think it worked out so well for you?
I think mostly I had to lean into trusting the process, but it also allowed me to rediscover myself. I knew
Ooh,
I had more to offer. I just didn't know what it was and how to really refine and define what it is I want to present, how I want to present it, and the best way to do that. So I don't know. Does that kind of answer the question there?
it does, it does. I'm like my curious journalist brain wants to go, ooh, like, can you be more specific? Is there like a thing, that you're thinking of when you're saying that?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it was just learning how to really connect to the client helped a
Mm,
lot for me. I
yeah.
think that was kind of the bigger part was I knew I had the skills. It was just I think what I learned through all of this was what parts I needed to plug in to connect to people to show them, hey, look, this guy has the skills.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love that. Okay. So then once you learned how to do that, I like that you said define and then refine. Like that's really
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
So what were some of the results? Like what changed as a result of, this commitment to yourself for these months?
Certainly. Well, I think it reinvigorated me wanting to go into the salon. I didn't have the burnout. I was actually excited to see
Huge.
clients. I think once we redesigned my menu and I learned how to give a more elevated experience, I enjoyed the experience more, as well as my clients enjoyed the experience more. Um, so I think just, one of my favorite quotes I ever had a friend of mine tell me is when you're green, you grow. When you are ripe, you rot. And I needed to get back to being green again because I felt like at one point, I was like, well, I know it all. What more can I do? I've done it all. That's not going to work anymore. So I think that was kind of most of it for me is just that understand that as long as you keep growing and you keep learning, better things are going to happen. So
You had talked about client acquisition and, again, to your point of feeling ripe and then maybe rotting. So, can you get a little specific about what actually changed in your business as a result
yeah,
of this time?
I think a lot of it happened by just dialing in my website and then also getting ads put together to bring those clients to me. I had no idea how ads worked. I had no idea, I thought I had a great website, didn't realize that, there were certain parts that just didn't speak to the clients I was trying to draw in.
Sure.
So I think just the streamlining a lot of things really made a big difference in that client flow.
That's great. How about revenue? Like once you started to elevate your client experience, how did that impact to, dollars and profit for you?
Certainly. So the first thing I noticed was when we redesigned, we went with packages and we elevated my pricing. I didn't have to look for new clients and I didn't have clients leave. Clients were like, "Oh, you're so worth it, by all means, oh, take my money, please." And then the other better part was we kind of went back and forth over whether keeping gratuities or going away from gratuities. And overwhelmingly, so many of my clients appreciate that my gratuities are included now because then when someone says, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair, how much do you pay?" When they tell them, they're like, "That's it." And so, I guess maybe there's opportunity for me to open that up, but just knowing that what's there, it's like there's no trickery to it. There's no, and now let me flip the screen and suddenly you have to figure out what more am I worth? Am I worth more? So it's yeah, that's kind of been the biggest part. As far as client retention, it's been wonderful. I feel like now that I've elevated, my clients are talking a little bit more to their friends and family and getting me more referrals that way too.
Oh, that's right. I think right before I hit record, was it Instagram or was it the emails where you said somebody said that they were impressed?
Oh yeah, it was just from the emails. Yeah,
Oh,
from
okay,
emails
cool.
and also Instagram. Yeah, I've had several of my clients that just follow me on Instagram and have said, "Wow, I love what you're putting out there. Your content's amazing. It just looks, you are the go-to guy for this." So it's helped in so many ways.
Oh, I love that. How has this changed your life as a whole? I always love to big picture it out because obviously we're not just, behind the chair operators.
Yeah, I think honestly, because the last 6 months have led us up to the new year,
I know.
it's really put me to a position where I'm hitting the ground running. And I also know that I'm not going to be that stylist as we get into late January and early February, where I'm twiddling my thumbs going, where are the people? I've already got them on my book. I've already got them scheduled. Everything that we're doing out there in the world with ads and Instagram is drawing those people to me. So, we had talked about this in a former coaching session that putting everything in line now is going to reap rewards. And it's, yeah. So 2026 is going to be my year.
Yes, fire horse year.
Yes. Yes.
Where do you think that you would be right now if you hadn't had joined this program?
Honestly, I would either be contemplating maybe going back into a regular commission salon, which I really didn't want to do,
Mhm.
or it might have been that I might have just completely looked to a different career altogether. I finally feel like I'm not drowning, my head's above water, and I'm actually swimming. So I think that's the biggest part is I don't have that dread of like, oh, what am I going to do next? Everything's there. You've given me systems. You've given me, um, the layouts of the way things go. We've got metrics. We've got all this wonderful data from everything that we've done. So I'm just set up. I'm set up for success. So that's the best thing I can say about this working with you.
I love that. That's so rewarding. I'm so excited for your
Yeah,
2026.
me too.
Yeah, especially because you've been in the industry for so long. And so I know the dopamine hit that we get when we take a new technical education class
Right.
and we think that it's going to lead to more money. And
Right.
in short term, we're excited about the new haircut or the new hair color, but it doesn't always lead to more dollars. And so I'm glad that you
Exactly.
have a lasting foundation now.
Exactly.
Which is great. So this is my last question is, of course, speaking to somebody who's maybe a version of you, like 1 or 2 years
Mhm.
from, before you. So somebody's watching this and maybe they feel unsure.
Mhm.
Maybe they're not sure if they should, book a call or speak about joining our program. Like, what would you tell them?
I think no matter where you are in your career, as I just said earlier, when you're green, you grow. And I honestly think for anyone, having a coach that also holds you accountable to achieving your next goal is something we can all grow from. I think personally, what do you have to lose by making a phone call and just talking it through? And then I think that's the biggest part is too many people are afraid to actually talk about what's going on. And if we just do the ostrich and put our head into the sand and just ignore everything, it's not going to get better. So yeah, anyone that's, on the fence isn't sure, just have a conversation, get it started. And, if the conversation speaks to you and you understand where this can go, you know, trust trust yourself, trust the process and go for it. That's probably the best thing I can say is you just have to trust the process.
Bonus question. How would you define my coaching style?
So easygoing, so relatable. Um, yeah, I at no point was there ever any confusion about what I needed to do. I just being that we're fellow Geminis, we resonated well, but I think that's also the gift of the Geminis, we're able to understand individuals and work specifically with them. So I think that was great that your overall style just was able to kind of ebb and flow and work with my energy. So yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
providing this case study and
yeah.
testimonial. And when people want to follow the urban unicorn, how can we find you?
Sure, you can find me at urbanunicornsalon.com is my website, or Urban Unicorn Salon on Instagram. And if you're in the Sacramento area, stop in. I'd love to give you a head spa.
Thank you.
Yeah.